Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Dear Jill. How are we all? I've had a pretty uneventful week, if I'm honest with you, but it's been really nice. Family, friends, and very, very chilled. But nothing of any, nothing major has happened. But I will say that I've been reflecting a lot because this week happens to, at the time of recording, this will be the anniversary of my partner's death this weekend. So I've been thinking a lot about just how far I've come, what I've learned, just sort of having a good old think about where life has taken me. So I've written something, and I wanted to read it out to you because I thought if I freestyled it and I got a little bit emotional or something, I might lose my train of thought. So I wrote it down in my phone, and I do want to say before I read it out that this is definitely for people. When I say, grief and loss, I really mean people who have lost a relationship, a dream job, maybe a family that they never had, or it's or a life that they always dreamed of. It's not just about bereavement. That was something that I learned that's always really stayed with me, that grief isn't just about losing people, it's about losing ideas and hopes and aspirations as well. So something I've learned about loss. And by the way, my partner was called Matt. So when I say Matt, you'll know who I mean. Dear Matt, when I lost you, I wasn't prepared for how painful life would feel. There were times when I thought I couldn't get through it. Not having you in my life seemed like a punishment that I wouldn't be able to bear. I simply couldn't comprehend a life without you in it, and more importantly, I didn't want to. It's been 8 years since you died now, and for the first few of those years, I spent a lot of my grieving thinking about what could have been. Our plans, our dreams, our hopes. I imagined what life would have felt like in our house in North London with our children. I fantasized about what our wedding would be like, and when I found your planned proposal on your phone after you died, that only strengthened my idea of future us. And then, as time went by and I became more aware of my thinking, I realized something. A lot of my anguish was projection and wrapped up in a life that I could have or should have had with you. As if the pain of losing you wasn't bad enough, I would beat myself up and grieve for all the things we didn't do, all of the things I felt we'd been cheated out of. It was horrendous. Any griever will recognize the pain of feeling as if you're living the wrong life. The life you were meant to have has been taken, stolen, ripped from you. And you obsess about all the things you were supposed to do and how they were going to feel. But the real truth is, Matt, I don't know how our future would have looked. I can only imagine and dream, because the fact is, we might not even be together if you were still alive. I mean, just saying that makes me feel so sad, but isn't the real truth that not one of us knows what's going to happen this next second, let alone the next 8 years? At first, I hated this idea. I rejected it and I didn't want to believe it. Eventually, I slowed down and began to think how it really made me feel. At first, it felt disloyal. The dreams and projections of our future kept you alive in my mind. I felt close to you and you lived on through me. So to let that go might mean I'd lose you all over again. But once I admitted to myself that I couldn't really know what the future held for us, and all of this imagining and fantasizing was, well, hope. Hope that if I believed it for long enough and hard enough, I could somehow magically bring you back and there would be a happy ending after all. I could love you back to life. And there was nothing wrong with that. Until there was. You see, all my dreams about our future kept me close to you, but apart from the real world. My loyalty to stay close to you was misplaced. I thought I needed to keep fantasizing about our future for you to stay there with me. But I was wrong. You were always there. You are always here. And you, above anyone else, want me to live and to experience this crazy life in its fullness. I mean, my God, that's how you lived your life, grabbing every second of joy you could. You were almost greedy for it, and rightly so. And that's what you've enabled me to do, to grab my joy, to accept life on life's terms. Yeah, you have left me physically, but you live on in me with your spirit, and nothing and no one can ever take that away from me. So what I want to say to all of you grievers, all of you out there who mourn the loss of a loved one, a relationship, the one that got away, a dream job, a family you never had, just stop for a moment and ask yourself, if a lot of your grief is for something that you hoped would have happened, or you dreamed would be your life. Because while we're fantasizing, our actual life is passing by right in front of us. And never worry that you'll forget, because you won't. You'll carry your grief alongside you, and it will become your guide, not your burden. So stay curious, friends. The life we have been given is the way life was meant to be. And we can spend all the time in the world resenting and fighting the truth of that. But if we do, we run the risk of letting all the beautiful new possibilities pass us by. And if we hold on to a future we can't have, we run the risk of letting our should-have-beens get in the way of our might-bees. And our might-bees may be way more wonderful than you ever thought they could be. And that's it. I just wanted to just connect with all of you out there who might be holding on to something that never was, or a future that you never had. And although I do that and it's understandable, it's just that we're here now and we're living our life now, and this can be beautiful as well. And that's it.
Thank you for sharing that. That was honestly lovely.
Yeah.
And even though, I didn't know Matt,
Yeah.
I'm just starting to learn about you.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was very hot on your sleeve and very open and honest, exactly what this podcast is all about. How did it feel to, one, put it down on paper, and to, two, let it go to the world?
Well, I do think that it's always cathartic to really express how you feel. Certainly for me, that's just the way I am. I am very just say how I feel. But I do think that especially my early days of grief, when it was really quite overwhelming, I did like to hear from people that were a bit sort of further along in the journey, because it really gave me hope, and it really gave me access to the possibility of not always feeling this dreadful. So I wanted people out there who might be in that space to just know, hey, look, even if that's where you are now, things can change. And even if you think you're still in that sort of mindset, you can challenge yourself to be like, this is what we've got now. In recovery, we talk a lot about life on life's terms. And it's really hard to accept that something hasn't gone your way, something that seems very unfair and unjust, that shouldn't have happened, they should not have gone, or I should have got that, or whatever. But the acceptance of it, I think, sets you free a bit. So it's probably me talking to myself as well. Just keep accepting, and then you see all of the other opportunities coming your way.
And I mean, you've obviously got your book, but writing, did that come naturally, or was it like,
I think that usually when I write something, it's because it's just in my head, ready to be written. I very rarely sit down and think, I don't know what to write, but I'm going to have to. I kind of only do it if there's like a purging to be done. So that's, I'm not, when I hear about like actual writers who like they're really disciplined and they're like, I will go down to my shed at 10 o'clock every morning and I will not leave until I've written 100 pages. I just think, wow, that's a writer right there. You know, that's extraordinary. But no, I can only do it when I'm feeling like I've got the urge. Do you write?
Absolutely not.
No.
I have written, I don't know the word for it, but I have put something down on paper. Similar to you, when you've got lots of things going on in your head and you go, right, it's coming out, and I've wrote one poem. That's a lie, I wrote 2 poems. One's about my cat, which was the first one, and still gets me emotional. And the second one, again, I have never read it out to people. People don't know it exists.
Yeah.
And it's about, it's like a letter to my granda.
Oh.
So that's really interesting that you
Oh, that's
shared
nice.
that, because then it gives me the confidence to go, you know what, maybe that is worth sharing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's lovely that you've written the letter, but yeah, sometimes putting it out there, it's like an extra layer of like release, I think. Interesting. Maybe one day we'll hear the letter.
Maybe one day. And also, if people have letters or read or write stuff, let us know as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Hi Jill, so my dilemma is that I have a lot of small friendship groups and they're all very opinionated and we're all very protective of each other. So I struggle when it comes to introducing like new partners, new boyfriends to the group, because I don't want them to feel judged, even though they are being judged, and I don't want them to be put in an awkward situation where they get a proper grilling. It just makes me feel uncomfortable, and I'm not the type of person that would do it quite as harshly as what my friends can do and can be. So I'm just a bit worried because I have met someone and we're getting along great. And yeah, I don't want there to be an awkward confrontation where one of us gets defensive and it just, you know, could happen, could turn into an argument. So if you've got any tips or advice, that would be great, because I don't want anybody feeling uncomfortable.
Beth, that is that's really interesting, because as you were talking to me, I thought, would I be frightened to introduce a new partner to my friends? And I was like, no, absolutely not. So if I was you, I would have to have a conversation with some of those friendship groups, and I'd have to be saying, listen, I really like this person. We're getting on really, really well. And I do want you to meet them. But honestly, opinions about who they are or what you think of them, they need to be kept quiet, because you're your own person. You know your own mind. You really like this guy. All your friends really need to do is support that. Because unless there was some sort of mistreatment going on, I can't see why anybody needs to give their opinion about what they think about your new partner. So I'd probably be quite direct and quite blunt. The other sort of avenue you could take is just don't introduce them for quite a while. Just make sure that you are solid and you feel really, really, really good about where you're at, so that when you do eventually introduce them to your friends, you're a much more united front anyway. Like you know exactly what you want. But it's tricky, isn't it? Sometimes I see, you know, when you watch, what are those, like Married at First Sight? That was the one I was trying to think of. And they introduce like their new husband to their friends back home when they do the home week. And you've got like just a group of friends going, what'd you do? All right. Is that what you do for a living? All right. Well, how much do you earn? Blah, blah. And I think I've never spoken to somebody like that in my life. Why would you do that? Now, part of me thinks they're being told to be that pushy on camera. But it sounds like maybe your friends do give some of your partners that kind of treatment. I don't think that's what friends are there for. I don't think that's a friend's job to try and tell you what they think of your partner. I think that you should have some very stern words with them and say, I'm a grown ass woman. I don't need to hear what you think. All I need you to do is just be nice. And in fact, one of the things I have to say that I love about my friends is that when I am introducing them to new people, if they're a partner or just a new person, I actually really look forward to introducing new people to them because I like my friends and I think they're really friendly and open and communicative when new people are brought into the circle. So, yeah, I would say definitely, you know your own mind. And absolutely not. People's opinions don't have to be given if if it's not necessary. So, yeah, good luck with that.
I'll say, Beth, maybe it's a bit of jealousy because when you get a partner and then you don't see your friends anymore for a bit because you're in that honeymoon stage and it all happens and then you come calling back at the end. Maybe it's a little bit of that.
It is, definitely. And if they want to do their little bit of jealousy in private, okay, crack on. But Beth doesn't need to hear this, does she?
I get you.
Definitely not.
No.
Nah.
Okay.
No. Okay.
Next voice note, it's Gary.
Dear Jill, I'm Gary the Hat and I'm wondering if you could help us. About 40 years ago I had this dream, and in this dream I'm standing in the middle of this long road. At the end of the road is this huge, massive pendulum swinging from left to right. And on either side of the road is everybody that I've known or met in my life. Now I seem to be floating down this road and I've got to answer this question before I reach the pendulum. What came first, the chicken or the egg? Now everyone that I know on the left side all shouting, the chicken, the chicken. And then everybody that was on the right side of the road was shouting, the egg, the egg. I had to answer this question before I got to this pendulum because I think I was going to die when I hit this pendulum. But I woke up, I didn't know what the answer was, and I've been thinking about it ever since. So I was wondering if you could help us. What came first, the chicken or the egg?
What a question,
Gary the Hat. Gary the Hat. I have got no idea. And more than that, I've spent zero time really thinking about it. I mean, I love your dream. It's kind of funny. And I love the idea that there's like people on either side and all of that. But I don't know. But sleep well, Gary the Hat. Hope you don't dream of pendulums anymore.
Do you ever have a recurring dream that you always have, funny or not?
I don't actually, but I had an ex-boyfriend that had a recurring dream that I used to think was really quite scary. And he said that he'd be on this bus and everyone on the bus he knew. He said, and this bus driver who was faceless in his dream a lot of the time, he said would get up, he'd stop the bus, get up with a gun and just start shooting all the people that he loved on this bus. And he said it was horrendous. He said he would try and get to the bus driver, but he could never get to him in time. And then one time he had the dream and he got to the bus driver and the bus driver turned round and it was him. He was the bus driver.
Goosebumps. That was horrible. Oh, that's a film ready to happen.
He was really imaginative, this guy. But yeah, I don't have a recurring dream. I don't even have like the same recurrent anxiety dream or anything like that. Do you?
I have a one where, the classic, you're running, but you're going at snail's pace. I hate it, and there's nothing you can do. And you can, when you wake up and you have a really lovely dream, so you try and get back to sleep. Because you're like, I want to
go back there.
But that one, it just happens like not all the time. I get it maybe once every how often, but you always remember it, don't you?
Yeah, it's horrible. Do you ever get sleep paralysis?
Never.
I get that a lot.
What is it?
So I don't know how to break it down scientifically, but the feeling is, so I'm asleep, I'm in a bad dream, and then part of me becomes like more conscious and I'm like, I'm in a dream. It's a bad dream and I need to get out. But I can't open my eyes. I can't move. I can't do anything. So I'm in the dream, but my mind knows I should be out of the dream, but the dream keeps going. And it's like I'm trying to prise my eyes open. And quite often when I wake up, I'm usually like face down in the pillow or something. It's actually really horrible. And then I never want to go back to sleep after that because quite often with that, for me, it will happen at least 2 or 3 times on the trot. So you know that when you go back, you're going to go back into another sleep paralysis.
No, thank you.
No, they're not pleasant.
No, it's not the nice ones that you want to get back to sleep. I love them ones.
Yeah, I feel like I don't have lots of dreams. lately. See, the past 10 years or so, I feel like I used to dream a lot. Well, remember, people say that you dream all the time. It's just whether you can remember them or not. But I feel like I don't really remember my dreams much anymore.
I have a dream diary.
Do you really?
Do.
What? So you write down interesting ones or anyone?
Interesting ones, because I feel like sometimes when you depict them, very spiritual,
Yeah.
that they mean something. And
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, they really do.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the fact that, you know, when you wake up straight away, I've got a little book at the side of the bed, pick it up, I write the stuff down, I just jot things that I remember. And like even I can read it at night time before I go to bed and I go, did I dream that last night? It's already gone.
Really?
But I make sure I write it down and then I depict it to see what it is. And then I do like a little book that tells you what things represent.
Oh, yes, I love those books. Yeah, what do your dreams mean?
Mm-hmm.
I'm always wanting to dream about people that are no longer here. I'm always like lying in bed going, oh, go on, just give me a dream where I'll meet my dad in the dream. I just we can be doing anything you want. I'm talking to like the dream gods here.
Yeah.
We can be doing anything you want. I don't mind. I just want to see him. I just want to chat to him. And then I never do. And I wonder why my subconscious will not take me there.
Because maybe you're asking for it.
I know. Right, okay, tonight I'm going to be like, I don't want to dream about that.
Don't want you.
I absolutely don't.
That used to happen to me. My mum, when my grandma passed, she was always like, please, I'd love a dream just exactly like you. Me, who I was like, if I see them anywhere, I'll be freaked out at 10 years old. You know what I mean? I was like, I can't do that.
Yeah.
And I'll get them all the time. So there you go.
There you go.
You're wanting, you're asking the universe.
Well, when I was little, I used to have I went through a phase certainly of having a lot of nightmares and a lot of sort of like night terrors and things like that. And my mum, I wrote about this in the book, I think, but my mum said to me one night, just in the way that only mums can, because you believe everything they say. She was like, if you don't want to have a dream, just say, I don't want to have a dream before you go to sleep. I said, well, will that work? She went, yeah. So I went through this phase in my life of the very last thought I had to have was, I don't want to dream. So I would say, I don't want to dream, but then if I thought 3 more things after that, I'd have to say it. So it did become a little bit of an obsession. But I would say it and then I didn't dream. It's like, my mum said it, therefore it must be true.
The universe doesn't give you dreams when you want
They're so
them.
powerful, mums, honestly.
Dear Jill, I'm a bridesmaid to one of my best friends who's getting married in the summer. I'm obviously so happy for her, but the problem is we really don't like her fiancé. We've never been as big as fans throughout their relationship, but there weren't enough red flags for us to say something to her. We were just happy she was happy. However, since their engagement, we've become even more convinced that this man is not right for her and that there are some serious alarm bells in their relationship. We worry she isn't able to be her true self around him, and he can be prejudiced and rude to our friends and other people, and perhaps not as important, but still important. He's incredibly boring and only ever gives us financial advice, and we never ask for it. I know it's too late to say something now, but it's becoming increasingly difficult to be happy for her, and when I think she's making a mistake. And I wonder if you had any advice. Do I just be happy for her and ignore the red flags?
Oof. Ooh. Well, you said it was too late. So if you think it's too late and you're not going to say anything, then yeah, you do have to just be happy for her. I think if it was me, the thing that I would want to make sure was that she knew that the lines of communication between me and her were always open. And that if ever she needed to talk about anything, to not feel embarrassed or ashamed about it. That would be what I would want my friend to know, that it wouldn't be a judgment call. She wouldn't come to me and say, things are not great. And well, we told you so. We all thought he was a blah, blah, blah. No, don't do any of that. You just need her to know that you are her friend and you love her. You want the best for her. And that whatever she comes to you with, I think it's never, ever helpful to say to someone, I don't like your partner, or I think your partner is X, Y, or Z. I think a much more helpful question is, are you happy? All right. Well, how do they make you feel? Do you know, is that something you're excited about? Give them questions that they can answer themselves. Don't give them opinions about what you think of their partner. Ask them about how they feel inside. But you are right. You're going to have to tread very carefully. And you know, she's obviously about to get married, and that would be like dropping a bomb in the middle of somebody's personal life to say something now. But I think it's just, if you genuinely think there's something a bit more serious or like nefarious going on, then you need her to know that you've got her back. And that even if the day after, or when she comes back from the honeymoon, she needs to know that she can call you up and say, I think this is a mistake. I think I've made a mistake. I think that's all people need to know. It's quite hard sometimes, I think, when you're in relationships that are perhaps a bit more complicated, or, you know, perhaps volatile, or like, I don't know, like you suggest there might be just, you suggest that you don't think she can fully be herself. It's sensitive. It's really sensitive, and you don't want to upset her. But you also just need her to know that she won't be judged if she does come to you. I think that would be what a good friend would do. And it sounds like you are a good friend because you're worried about her. And that's what I would do. I would just let her know that I loved her, and that I was there for whenever or whatever she needed me for.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Who's this?
This is Chelsea.
Hi, Chelsea. How are you doing?
Hi. Good. How are you?
Yes, I'm really good. Have you got a dilemma for us today?
Yes, I have. So, dear Jill, I have a 19-month-old daughter. She's my first child. And I've been lucky enough to be a stay-at-home mum this whole time, which has been really lovely. But when I think about going back to work with what I do, which is similar to what you do, I am filled with dread. I know that lots of people have to go back to work a lot earlier than this, and I think with what we do, it feels like there's some choice involved. So I think that's what's making me feel guilty and dreading it as well. But yeah, I just want to sort of know how to get rid of this feeling of sort of like impending doom, really.
Well, just to be really open with the listeners here, I didn't know this, but Chelsea, who's just rang in now, is my niece. So this is very close to my heart. Surprise. I can't believe you've done this. But lovely to hear your voice. And actually, thank you, because I have definitely sensed that in you for a while now. And, you know, as we do in families, I've talked about it to other people, and I've been worried about it, and I've been concerned. And actually, this is, I heard this the other day, and I was gonna I was gonna tell you it, but now we're on air. Let's just do it in front of lots of people. So tell me this: do you think, or is your belief that it is wrong for a woman who has a child to work?
Not at all.
Okay, so this is what's really interesting. This is what I heard. So when your actions are not aligned with your beliefs, that's legitimate. You would feel guilty. So if I behaved in a way that wasn't aligned with my beliefs towards my partner, I would then feel guilty about it. What's interesting about when you use the word guilty is, what you're basically saying is, I feel guilty about doing something that is in alignment with my beliefs. Because your beliefs are that you can totally be a mother and work at the same time. So where is that guilt? Is that guilt coming from other people? Is it coming from society? Because it's not coming from you if it's aligned with your beliefs. So do you have an idea about where it might be coming from?
I think it's just this a guilt of maybe wanting a career, like wanting to be a mom, but also not wanting to be completely selfless, which I don't know whether that is a society thing, whether I know that we put a lot of pressure on women. We always have, and we do now, with sort of I feel like we, generally speaking, give women a hard time a lot of the time. We seem to, as a society, find it quite easy to give women a hard time. So I don't know whether I'm also just doing that to myself, like giving myself a hard time for not being at the top of my game in my career, and then maybe giving myself a hard time not being with my daughter, 24/7, feeling guilty that, she's being looked after today so that I can do things around the house. I don't know whether it's just, if it is more of a like society thing, though I know logically in my head that, like you say, like I don't believe all those things, and if it was the other way around, I would probably be giving you similar advice. I'm just struggling to get this, like, it's like a properly like feeling sick feeling.
So when you say it out loud like that, all I hear is you can never win, because you said I'll stay at home and just be as selfless as you put it, mother, which is definitely a societal thing. And then I'll kind of be regretful perhaps of not pushing for a career or to do something I love. But then again, if you go away or if you have to, leave home for a bit to do some work, then you're going to feel bad about not being an amazing mum. So we can start at that point, which is you can't think yourself into a situation where you can never win. That's a horrible thing to do to yourself. You're literally beating yourself up. But the one thing I will say, and I can sort of say this with great confidence because we literally do the same job, and I also have a 16-year-old son now.
Yeah.
When you do get work and you do have to work away for a bit, let's just say a couple of weeks at a time or something, of course that there is a cost to that. There is a cost, and the cost is that you will really miss your child, and you'll probably feel, bad about not being there for every single moment you could be there. But I would equally say that if you never follow your passion and you never pick your career back up, there'll be a cost for your daughter there as well, because you will be unfulfilled in a different way. And your daughter will subconsciously or not pick up on that. So I guess the short answer is there's no right or wrong. It's just I want you to know that there is a cost either way. And this idea that you can be everything, you can be the best mum in the world and have a career. I mean, none of us can. We're all just trying our best. But I want you to know that you are absolutely allowed to follow your dreams and follow your passion and love your child at the same time. When I was growing up, as you know, because my mum is your nana, my mum was there all the time. And honestly, it was so lovely to have a mum that was there all the time. But, I also really, really admired some of the mums who had careers who weren't there all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't look at the mums who were lawyers and who sometimes had to leave the dance class or couldn't turn up to the competition that we were at one weekend because they were working. I thought, oh, that's really interesting. Yeah, they've got a really interesting job. Oh, wow, that's amazing. And I don't see the friends that I have that had those mothers feeling any less loved than I did. It's just different.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're at that sort of like funny bridge at the minute where I can sense that you want to go over it, but you're just a bit frightened, but you'll do it and I'll be there every step of the way to support
Thank you. Thank you. And thanks, Emma and I thought we would surprise you today.
Well, you did surprise me. It was lovely. It was lovely to hear.
Chelsea, before you go, can we just have what does it feel like to have a higher WikiFeet rating on your feet than Jill?
Well, I've got a surprise, guys, and obviously this will be for Jill's eyes only, but I actually did a little feet photo shoot the other night just to see, how I would, what I think of my feet, and you know what? I personally think they're absolutely hideous. I cannot believe that anybody would think that they were nice feet. I dread to think what everybody else's look like if mine are a 5 out of 5.
Do you want to send over this feet photo shoot for us?
No, please.
So we can just have a look ourselves.
I did lots of different emotions, like through the feet. We did an angry one,
sexy foot, angry foot.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe if you're
Brilliant.
lucky, I'll send them over.
Please
Well, I can
don't.
only dream of being a 5-star foot.
Oh, you'll get there. I can give you some tips. Don't worry.
Thanks, Chelsea.
Right, bye.
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 Right, well, we've come to the end of another episode of Dear Jill, and as always, I'm so grateful that you'll call in and you'll chat to me, and I hope I've helped. And just stay open and stay brave, and I will see you next week. And keep those voice notes coming in. We really, really want to hear from you. Thank you.